Hello everyone. In this session I would like to talk about what is it that we're looking for. What is it that we really want as individuals and also as a collective, as a whole, as a group. I'm trying to make these videos as streamlined as possible because that is what most of us are used to. We like things in a structured manner. We like things to be provided to us, to be handed to us in a kind of a linear fashion, structured. Although life doesn't work that way. Life is totally the opposite. We try and change things so that things work in a linear fashion, things work in a structured manner as planned. But if you looked at how nature works, how the universe functions, it is very random. Anyway, that's another topic. For this session, I just want to talk about what is it that we are actually looking for. What is not the one thing, what are the kind of things we're looking for? Basically, we have expectations and we expect our life to be filled with material possessions, things. We like our life to be filled with good, meaningful, loving relationships with everyone, whether it's a family member, whether it's not a family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's a colleague, even with strangers. We like to have good, loving, and kindly relationships. What else are we looking for? We're looking to build a career in a meaningful manner, where we're able to deliver the best of our abilities at work or in our business. We're also looking for good health. Yes, we expect good health. We're looking for adventure. We're looking to travel the world. We're looking to pursue all our hobbies, whether it's in something that gives us joy, whether it's pursuing music, pursuing a sport, any other art form. I know I did speak about the different forms of wealth and success in my previous session, but I just thought I'll reiterate and just try to understand what is it that we're looking for. The whole idea behind me doing these posts are just sharing ideas and thoughts that I keep getting. Now, we all get these ideas and thoughts. What do we do with those ideas? How do we process those ideas? Do we not pay much attention to it? Or do we just listen to it, listen to the voice that comes from within? We just listen to it and not even process it. What I'm doing is I'm just the observer, the processor of that information. Okay? The moment you are in a space of openness or open-mindedness, or in a mode of acceptance. Another word that I've been loving lately is inclusion or inclusiveness. When you're in a mode of acceptance and inclusiveness, ideas come to you. And then it's up to you what you do with those ideas. What do I do with those ideas? I speak them out. That's the only difference between some of you and myself. And I use technology, I use Facebook, and I use YouTube, and I use people around me to discuss these things. But what I'm saying is that every idea has benefits or has something in it that we can learn from, where we can increase this thing called consciousness, awareness. Because that is what we are always doing. We are looking to increase our levels of consciousness. Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's at work, whether it's in our business, anything we do, we're trying to do it better. We're trying to know more. We're trying to understand better. And all that is nothing but increasing our level of consciousness. And even you yourself, I mean, we're all in certain levels of consciousness. How much we know, how much we are willing to accept, how much we are willing to include in our lives. We have so many things that we exclude, and which separates us from others. And we like to be identified by certain traits, by certain belief systems, by certain things we do, by the certain practices we follow. We like to be identified and put in a certain group. That's how we are. I don't do this, I don't eat that, I don't drink this, I only do this, I'm a morning person, I'm an evening person, I'm a night person, I'm not. There are too many biases, there are too many traits we'd like to be identified with. Yeah, what I've been meaning to also discuss in the session, or maybe I've been pondering about it for some time, which is, when we look at bringing more love and more joy, more adventure, more fun, and more peace, and more acceptance and inclusion, all these things, this is what we all want. We want more finance, we want more health, we want to have happy relationships, we want to live in a mode of service, we want so much so that we can give to others. All that is fantastic. If you did all this maybe few hundred years ago, you would be called a hermit or a sage or a guru or a yogi. And I think a sage or a yogi or a hermit, or someone who is into this thing called spirituality, we separate them because we consider them to be different. And even back then, many hundreds of years ago, there was more about exclusions. There were more removing things in order to become a sage, in order to become a hermit, which is either go into a cave and live in a cave and meditate, or go on top of a mountain and meditate, and just so exclude everything and just include one aspect, which is your inner self. Now that was one way of attaining this higher consciousness. But I'm asking, we live in an age, we are in the 21st century, we live in a fantastic world. We like to include more things than exclude. At the end of the day, we are sensory beings. We are human beings. We are sensory beings as well. So we like to live a life that is filled with adventure. So then, the sage of this 20th century or the 21st century should be someone who is more in a mode of acceptance and inclusion than the other way around. Sage 2.0. I've been playing around with this for some time. Sage 2.0. And since the beginning of the year, I've been thinking about this new thing called Sage 2.0.17, which is, we are in 2017. So isn't that we're all doing? We're all trying to become sages and not have any kind of separation. That is one of the biggest blocks, the stumbling blocks we all have is because of separation. Separation. My family versus your family. My community versus your community. My religion versus your religion. My belief system versus yours. My country versus yours. The universe doesn't look at anything from the point of view of separation. The universe creates everything exactly the same, equally. How the universe creates a plant or an insect or a bird or an animal is exactly the way the universe has created human beings. And so all this I'm saying, I mean, the only way I can communicate all these thoughts is by language, is by words. We all have 60,000 thoughts apparently each day. Now, how can we communicate all these thoughts to another person or even to yourself? The only way you can do that is by using language, by using words. Now, words are something that we have created. So, there is obviously a limitation, there is a boundary. We cannot use more than, even if you mastered any language and you know each and every word, all the words of that language, you're still limited to your ability to be able to articulate and express all your thoughts. There is still a limitation. It's not boundless. Obviously, you can take new words from another language. So all these things, when I talk about anything, when you talk about spirituality, it's just another word. It doesn't mean anything much. What is more important is all the thinking process that is happening behind that. I get this quite often. Or people just say, "Oh, he's a spiritual guy." I don't even understand that word. What does it mean? Aren't we all spiritual beings? At some level, not at some level, at all levels, we are all spiritual beings living a human experience. Again, just words don't mean anything at all. And my ability to express and articulate and share all this with you is only by using words. That's the only thing I have, language. So what I was talking at the beginning was about what we are looking for in our lives, and it is just about all these understanding. I'm just having all these ideas, and I urge and encourage and ask you to share things like this with people, because the more you share, the more you increase your knowledge. These things cannot be taught, so it has to be learned. It has to be learned by experience, by going within, by the Sage 2.0.17 is all about inclusion and acceptance. I remember one of my colleagues actually called me a sage a few years ago, and I said, "What? That's a big term." But now I do. I buy into that, because we're all sages. The only difference being the level of consciousness we have. The more conscious we are, the more including and accepting we are, and go beyond the barriers, what society, what the world, what the media, what people around us, what our family members have taught us. It's to be able to look beyond all that and have our own understanding of what this thing called the self is, what life is. So Sage 2.0.17 is we all making this effort to become sages, where we are including our family members in it, not the sage or the monk that we've been conditioned to understand, which is to go away and exclude everything and just live in solitude. All that is good. What I'm saying is we can become an inclusive sage. There are some other topics, some topics that do come to mind right now, which I would like to at some point discuss about, which is considered to be very controversial, but it's about accepting, including, with a sense of curiosity and inquisitiveness. Money is another thing, because the sage, the traditional sage, would exclude money. And I'm asking, why do we need to exclude money? Why? Oh, everything else is okay. I like to have good relationships, good health, a good career. But money, no, that's money is evil. Again, all I'm saying is accepting and including everything. An inclusive sage. Sage 2.0. Now, you're welcome to listen to me, and I urge you to listen to others as well. Everyone, whether it's reading books, whether it's watching other videos, listening to audiobooks, it's about including everything, every idea, every concept. Every person has got something or the other to teach or to share. I'm not teaching, I'm just sharing ideas. But what I would like us all to move towards is becoming a sage, an inclusive sage. A sage where the person's married and has a fantastic, wonderful married relationship. You don't have to leave anything at all. You can still do your introspection if you have a fantastic and a meaningful relationship with your family members. It's all this is a test, is an opportunity for us to look within and see how we can develop this thing called family. Developing family. You can still spend time in solitude. It's about having that fantastic connection with your partner or with your spouse that, look, we're in this journey together. We will give each other the freedom, the space, the love, the respect, and yet follow our own path. Understanding the other person is almost impossible. The more time you spend with another person, the more you know them. But you don't know the entirety of them. You don't know them entirely. So what we can do is understand this person that we are closest to, which is ourselves. Sage 2.0 is also a very career-oriented person. He or she does their job or the business or run their business with no expectations. Just doing it with the best of their abilities. Just giving, just providing work. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this session. Just keep the Sage 2.0 on top of your mind, and which you're already doing. I'm just giving it a term, Sage 2.0. But we're all living a monkish life. The sage of the first century did not have technology like we have today. They probably had to go from one place to the other physically to be able to share their ideas and their thoughts and their concepts and their understanding and knowledge of how this thing called life functions. I'm very excited about this whole concept of sagehood. I've been on this journey for almost it'll be 5 years in March. It was, my little journey started. I know it has been going on for many, many years, right from the time I was born. But I started getting conscious of this shift in March 2012, and this was when I was reading a book by Robin Sharma called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And there was another video that was very popular at that point called The Secret. And just these two external forces actually brought about a dramatic shift within me, which caused me to educate myself as much as I can. I've been reading a lot of books ever since. I never used to read. I was never a reader. And it has just been fantastic. And just inquiring, not looking for answers, but just the ability to ask questions itself is so liberating. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate your time. I know, yeah. But I hope we can all, move along on this journey of higher consciousness, of just being more aware, educating ourselves more, increasing our knowledge, and not rejecting, just accepting, just the way the universe functions.